Hi everybody, and welcome back to my channel. For those of you who are new, welcome. My name is Brianna, aka Dollface PA. I can be found on Instagram and Twitter at Brianna Moore. For those of you who are returning, thank you so much for coming back. It's kind of been a while since I did a video where I'm just like sitting down talking. So we're gonna jump straight into today's video. I get so many questions from PA students about how to study. And a lot of people are very overwhelmed with the amount of information that you have to learn and retain in such a short amount of time because you have so many tests back to back. And a lot of people struggle to find the method that works best for them. So I do want to lead out with the disclaimer that this is the study technique that worked for me. And I am a very visual learner, and I learn best with repetition and with writing things down, highlighting things with different colors, and that's kind of how I retain information the best. I would say that this study technique that I'm going to be showing is most effective for like your clinical medicine class, because that's like the most dense subject matter that you're going to have in all of PA school. And there's so many different modules and you really have to like grasp the information quickly. So let's get straight into it. So guys, this is actually a presentation that I created myself for an aortic dissection talk that I gave at work about a year ago. But you would want to open up your PowerPoint for the lecture and go through the entire thing first. You need to read through the whole thing before you start to make the study guide and use the study technique that I'm about to show. So this is me just quickly scrolling through it, but you would actually want to read the information. Alrighty, so after you've gone through the whole thing, you're going to want to open up a Microsoft Word document. I'm just going to title this Aortic Dissection Study Guide. Then you are going to want to insert a 2x1 column. Yes, if you can't tell, we are going to make a 2-column study guide that works very, very well. And I'm just going to scroll down to where I start actually getting into the information. And what you are literally going to do is create questions that answer the information that is in this PowerPoint. So I'm going to show you how I do that. So there's two different classifications of aortic dissection. So I'm just going to start making questions. What are the two types of classifications of aortic dissections? That's the first one, as shown in the PowerPoint. And the second one is the Stanford classification. So I'll put it there. And I'm literally just going to go through and like start making questions for every piece of information that's on this PowerPoint. Does this take a little while? Yes, it does. But I promise you, the end goal is a very effective one. And so my next question, what types of dissections fall under the Zabaki classification? Then I'm going to go back and answer that question. And if you notice, I didn't write the Zabaki classification in the question because I want to make sure that I know what the classification is. So I wouldn't even be able to answer that second question unless I knew the answer to the first one. And you can see how I did the third question as well. Now I'm going to go through and start making questions for the specific types of aortic dissections. So this looks like type 3B. So the question is going to be, which type of dissection involves, and I'm literally just copying and pasting the information directly from the PowerPoint. And whether you know it or not, in creating these questions, you're actually studying, because you will start to retain some of this information just by making these questions. And I would do this for every single one of my PowerPoints that we went through in class. And honestly, they could get pretty long. Some of these study guides would be 8-9 pages, and that's okay, because this is an effective method when you do it. So I'm just going to go through. I'm continuing to make questions. And if you notice, I'm kind of jumbling the order in which I am creating the questions, because I don't want it to be a situation where I just memorize them like, oh, the first one is type 1, the first one is type 2, the third one is type 3. So if you will notice, I'm intentionally like scrambling them, which I think is also very helpful. So I'm just going to continue going through and creating the questions, and I would ideally go through this entire PowerPoint and create questions for every piece of information that is on this entire PowerPoint. I'm not going to do that on camera, but you kind of get the gist of it. Any piece of information that seems relevant, that seems like it could be a question on the test, I am going to make a question and I'm going to answer it. So again, you're going to want to just go through every single slide and create questions for each piece of relevant information. And you're just going to continue doing this until you get to the end. Once you finish, you will have a very, very comprehensive 2-column study guide of very, very relevant questions. Once you feel that it's complete, once you've gone through all the information in the slides, you are going to want to print this off. So once it's printed, this is where the studying comes in. You are going to fold this piece of paper in two and start to quiz yourself. Start to ask yourself the questions and start to answer the questions. You are not going to get all the questions right the first time, but the ones that you do get right, move past them. The ones that you get wrong, I will go through and highlight them. I use a color coordination system where I would highlight the ones that I got wrong in pink or yellow or blue, and for some reason this would help the ones that I was really struggling to remember stick out in my mind. And what I would do is keep going through the study guide questions over and over and over again, specifically focusing on the highlighted ones, because those are obviously the ones that I'm not really retaining, and those are the ones that I'm struggling to remember. And so I would continue going through them over and over and over again until I got them all right and felt comfortable that I knew the answers to every question on the study guide. And that is how I studied. Another thing to consider is that in printing out this study guide, you can take it anywhere with you. So like if I knew that I was going to be like in the car for a little while, if I was like running to the store with my mom, I would always have my study guide with me in my purse. And so the convenience of having it printed out, you can literally study anywhere. You don't have to be like sitting in front of your laptop. So that was another thing that I really liked about this study method, because the truth is you still have like other things to do in life and you can't be studying 100% of the time. So you have to find creative ways to take your studying with you on the go. So yeah, this is the technique that I use to get through PA school. I passed every single one of my clinical medicine tests, maybe not with the A, but a lot of them I did pass with the A, and I certainly didn't come close to failing any of them. I think personally that this is the method that works best for having to like get a lot of information into your mind quickly and just like regurgitate it on the test. I briefly touched upon this in my video of how to study for the PANCE, which I'll link up here. This was a similar technique that I also used to study for the PANCE, but obviously that was a little bit different because it was just so much information. And so I hope you guys found this study technique helpful. Please let me know in the comments if you did. If you have any other questions, as always, please feel free to reach out to me. And thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you on the next video. Bye.